And over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram, lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, your delight when you need it most.
Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Hi, my name is Gavin Kerr.
My name is Brandon Croucher.
And you're watching Java Delight.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell.
Enjoy the show.
Oh, that was great. I was like, Gavin, don't touch anything. I'm putting Brett in the back. Just let him sit there for a second. Let's see how long he takes. Yeah. And then Brett's just like, that was great. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
He has control of the system, too. I don't know why he didn't just click himself back out really quick.
He was sitting there going, did I click this? You saw like 4 different scenarios play through his head. Like he's like an Air Force captain there or something. Like he's sitting there going like, okay, so did I click this button or did B click this button? B must have clicked this button because he thinks it's funny, but I don't think it's funny. And I'm just going to have to sit here and what do I click? And then we clicked him out. See how fast I did that in my head? Gavin, you're a little worried about me?
No, I'm just waking up. I feel it in my bones.
Dude, you and I sat back.
My system blow.
You and I sat back here and barely talked. Just both of us doing our things. Hey, click this. Let's check this. And we're both like staring at each other and not waking up. So
we've been doing that all week.
But we're getting better at it. The shows have gotten better as the week's gone on. The guests have had more fun, and we've been prepared for things like today. What happened this morning? We were reading the bio, and both of us, the spot that we got tripped up on, we both skipped right over and went to her website and figured out a new way to read it. We changed her bio so it's easier on us to read. Things like that makes us
bio. Throw out the whole bio. Just got a new one.
We technically did, didn't we? So, Gavin Kerr, it is a wonderful way to start this fantastic fucking Friday. Oh, shit. I just used my first one, my only one of the day. Gotta watch my mouth. But I think I used my one yesterday. But Gavin Kerr, it is wonderful to have you on this fantastic Friday. What is bringing you? I don't even know. What is bringing you happiness today, buddy?
Oh, my friend who was on that road trip is now back from the road trip, so I will get to see her later today. I'm very, very excited about that. And then my buddy Micaiah, who is going to be moving in, actually, he's coming over later today to help me set up my my Studio One on my computer, so that way I can start actually recording these the vocals for my demos. I have everything pretty much. I have all the instrumental done. All I need to do is record the vocals, but there is a delay that I haven't been able to figure out where I'll say something in the microphone and then like half a second later I'll hear it into the headset, and so it really screws me up. So he's going to get that fixed for me really quick because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. And then I'll be able to get my demos done probably by next week is my goal, to have them done. And then I can start officially recording these songs and getting videos ready.
Very cool, my man. That's exciting. And that's kind of funny you bring that up and how the universe works, because you and I were talking before the show and I was telling you, hey, I don't want to stir any feelings or anything, but did you see a video that was dropped yesterday? And you very politely were like, oh, yeah, I saw. And you handled it well. I was so proud of you because like that, it's one of those things where it's the first video that's come out from them since you and them had your split and you decided to go on to greener pastures. So my thing is, I watched the video, and this has nothing to do with you. I told you this before the show. It was the first thing I said to you. Bro, I did not enjoy it the way I did when it was just when you were with the band. And it had nothing to do with you. The sound is different. The energy is different. The feel of the music is different. For me, I just didn't grasp to it. And I went right back to your song. What is it? Tick?
Yeah.
All right. So I went back to that and I clicked on it to see if maybe I was just being judgmental. And the truth is, man, you had this energy about you, and you could hear in the lyrics like you were singing of an art. You were singing of a purpose. And I didn't even need to know you at that point. So please know you can see that, and I want to see you keep bringing that light that you have. That's what I'm saying, and I see it in your eyes.
I really appreciate that. All I'll say on it is that I expected more, but I'll give them benefit of the doubt for the rest of the album because they still don't have an actual lead singer yet. That was a bunch of group. The chorus was a bunch of group chants and vocals from a variety of singers. So I'm gonna hopefully I'm gonna try to give them the benefit of the doubt and hold out hope that the rest of it holds up to what they said that they were gonna put out there and the expectations that I have.
Hey, very well said, because I did. It was a big difference, and I just wanted you to know that I'm proud of you for what you do, because I'm enjoying having time with you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday. Do me a favor and throw what state you're going to be in tomorrow, or where you're going to be in the world, what city tomorrow, because I know a lot of people are getting ready to travel. I've gotten messages from people all over the world saying, oh, this weekend I'm doing this. Oh, I'm doing this. I even have a new Instagram best friend. And I do. He is so cool. So he quit his job and jumped on the road in Europe, okay? And he took his dogs and said, we're going to go find things to be positive about, good things that happened during COVID. And he's driving around Europe in his camper van with his 2 Rhodesian Ridgebacks. Now, he and I have never met, and unless he goes back to me being a 15-year-old, he would have no clue about this of me and my life. But I showed dogs. And I showed Rhodesian Ridgebacks at one point in my life. And my favorite dog I've ever owned was a Rhodesian Ridgeback.
What
and
is
I would
a Rhodesian Ridgeback?
Love you for asking me this.
Yeah.
So a Rhodesian Ridgeback is actually, it's like a medium-sized to big-sized dog. It's very muscular, but all the hair goes one way except the middle of their back. It goes straight up the middle of their back. So it like a Ridgeback. But what makes it absolutely cool is that these dogs are bred in Africa. And 3 of them, they're used in tribes, and 3 of them can actually kill a lion when hunting. That's how strong.
It's these dogs.
Yes. So for me, him having these 2 dogs that he's just traveling in a camper with, I literally, if I was in Europe, I probably would have just like jumped in with him to go find positivity. Like, it was absolutely the coolest thing, and I loved his dogs. So we became like instant best friends and started messaging. I told him about the morning show. He's probably watching today. I told him if he sends me some things, I would be more than happy to plug it because I want people to follow his journey. So he's going to send me stuff. But yeah, guys, like cool things like that. People around the world starting to like, everybody's tired of the negative and we're looking for a new narrative. And it's funny how that can work, you know? Yeah. So, but Gavin, you're going to be in Ohio all weekend. Other people
I'm going to be in Ohio for a while still.
Touche. I'm in Ohio. Actually, I might go to Pennsylvania on Saturday night for a minute, but that's not for sure.
I've always really liked Pennsylvania. I love the mountains.
Yes. Oh, the Allegheny Mountains are gorgeous, but they're not fun to drive through.
No, especially at night.
Have you ever gone to the mountains and then like into the mountains, like those like side roads that you're like, okay, only people that live out there are there?
Yeah, because I have friends and family who live in those areas.
Me too.
Nice.
Like my grandpa has a hunting lodge up there, and it's where he taught me how to shoot and where I took the true standing of why people. I do believe everybody should have the knowledge of the proper use of handguns. Or guns in general, because you should know how to handle a gun, why they are safe, and why a gun is not something to be scared of. It's something to respect. And it's like if you walked into a courtroom, you're not going to just walk in and start screaming at the judge. You're not going to walk up to somebody who has a gun aimed at you and just start and think the gun's going to go off. It takes a requirement of an action to make it go off. So for me, I love the Allegheny Mountains because that's where I learned how to shoot. And just no, Brett. Have you ever motorboated between the mountains? So let's say hi to everybody, and you and I need to wake up. And
how would that work? There's no water.
No, motorboated.
Yeah, there's no water unless you're doing a stream.
Are you fucking with me? I use yours.
How would that work, Brandon? There's no water in the mountains unless it's like a little river. I don't think a motorboat could fit. I don't understand.
That's my biggest
I know the sound that a motorboat makes, Brandon. Why are you doing that? Why are you making the sound of it? That doesn't explain the water issue.
Good morning, Bob Seymour. How are you, my friend? It's good to see you. Good to see you here in the comments. Sherry McQueen. Brian, hi. I love it. Bob's laughing. Help him out, Brett. Yeah, help me out, Brett. Explain what you meant by motorboating because Gavin's trying to picture the water.
Help me out, Brett. I don't understand the water issue.
Yeah. Learned how to shoot and cough. Now motorboats. Yep. Exactly. That's how quick our ADD squirrels go. We go a 90-degree turn, fast as can be. Jaybird, it's great to see you here. Ready, Gavin? Say hello to.
Hey, Brian.
Ready? Next one.
Hi, Breakthrough Show. How you doing, Jessica?
Ready? Let's see if he has anything good.
Brett, I still don't understand.
Tell me, Brett. How do you explain that to somebody? Like, I'm caught up in the...
Señor, lo siento.
Brett's in the back going like this. Gavin, have you never motorboated?
I've gone fishing on a charter boat. That has a motor.
Airboats have motors, but don't need water. So maybe you're airboating it.
Like the RC cars? Is that what you're talking about?
I guess that's what he's saying.
Like a plane?
Maybe Gavin has not known. Maybe Gavin has not known the true mountains.
No, I've been to the Rockies. I just drove through them. We went through Colorado, remember? We posted pictures and everything.
We did. Did it smell like... Oh! I almost read that out loud. I'm going to move on now. I'm so disturbed. I know, because Gavin doesn't know what this is. I'm disturbed by him, too. Gavin,
I'm just so innocent and oblivious. Please, somebody explain.
We have Bob cracking up. Do you see Bob in the back? He is killing me. Oh God, no, Brett, I'm knocking that one. All right, so Gavin, what are your plans for the weekend? Anything fun?
I got karaoke going on tonight. Like I said, I have Makai coming over to help me out with some music stuff, get my programs all in order. I have my one friend, I almost said her name. She and I are going to be hanging out today, seeing each other for the first time in a week. It's been so long. No, I do miss her, so I'm excited. And then I have karaoke going on tonight. It's actually going to be a big party at Hatfield's Good Grub. There's a birthday party that's going to be there. And then I have regulars from other shows. Then I do have my fishing license. Then I have regulars from other karaoke shows who are going to be coming over to this party tonight. So Hatfield's is going to be banging. There's going to be a lot of dance music at first. Oh, that reminds me, I got to make a playlist. And then there's going to be karaoke for the rest of the night. Tomorrow I got karaoke tonight. What else I got going on tomorrow? I got something on Saturday. I think I'm doing a construction job tomorrow. Yeah, landscaping in the morning. I'm not sure what time. And then Sunday, I am doing. I have one person coming over who's possibly another roommate who's going to check out the house, and I'm going to meet him. And then I also have. I'm going to be trained for weddings, to DJ weddings.
Ooh,
So,
weddings are fun, and
that.
you would be a good wedding DJ. I could see you being very good as a wedding DJ.
Yeah.
Like that is. If I team you up with a friend who's a photographer, you guys could like take over wedding venues.
That would be amazing.
Million ideas.
That'd be really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me some shows because weddings are big money too.
Oh, weddings. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask a question, and I'm probably going to be hated for this. And it's to go off the rails, Brian Tracy, like you asked me to, because we haven't already done that like 3 times today. But Gavin, like, I am not about a wedding. I think a wedding is a lot of money that is being spent towards something that is one day.
Yeah.
And I'm not a wedding person anymore. But a lot of people are. Because it's supposed to be a very special day. It's supposed to be a very important day, blah, blah, blah. Memories, all your family and friends are there. But my thing is, those aren't the people that are going to be there when the times are rough.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd rather take that money and have like, instead of going somewhere, have like a digital wedding nowadays, have everybody put their, whatever they were going to spend into something, and you go on a vacation and like maybe make it fun and let your friends and family help pick the vacation or something. I don't like, they vote on it through there. Go ahead.
I think that it all depends on how you do it. Like I understand why some people want those huge, extravagant weddings. I personally, it doesn't particularly matter to me. I'd rather have something smaller, intimate. Crystal and I actually, when we were together, we had our wedding all planned out, and it was going to be fairly cheap. I think our budget was like $2,000, and most of that was going into her dress because we were going to be doing it in her sister's backyard. Her sister had a huge outdoor backyard, and it was all like woods and stuff like that. Crystal loved that, so we were gonna do that. For food, it was going to be a giant potluck, so everybody was going to bring something. So we covered that. Since I work for the DJ company, I get a free DJ for weddings if I want. So that's awesome. Photographers, I know a million photographers who are really good photographers who would be doing it, who would be willing to do it for a discounted price, if some of them probably for free, in all honesty. So we have food, music, dress. So most of the funding would go to like some decorations, which I don't think we were going to be doing a whole lot of those. And then like seating.
Seating's not that bad though.
Yeah, no. So like I said, like our wedding was like going to end up costing around $2,000 or so.
So my first wedding cost me, because her dad didn't pay for it and stuff. He did offer to do the dinner, which was a huge expense. We actually, you'd never guess I have friends. Like the day I got married, so many people wanted to show up, even though it was a 7-hour drive from where most of these people lived. They still drove, and that is pretty stinking cool. But like, we had almost 300 people, and that's a big wedding. And for me, it was him paying for the food was meant to be a great thing. It was meant to save money and all that, but like, all these people wanted to just have a good time. And I had to pay for so many other things. And I just remember at the end of it, our honeymoon, we were both so exhausted that like neither of us really wanted to hang out or go do anything. We just wanted to stay in the hotel room and sleep. And that sounds so bad, but like it's not like we did that the whole time, obviously. But like, that is what it feels like. And I'd rather have that person that you're going to be wanting to spend the rest of your time with, the rest of your life with. I'd rather have them and I be planning a future, have that money go to a house, have that money go to a vacation, have that money for the honeymoon. It's just such a hard thing because there's such different opinions in that. And like,
Another thing too, if you sort of, and it doesn't take a lot of brain power to do, but if you just ever so slightly change the perspective of what you're celebrating, in a sense, you're getting all your friends and family together to celebrate the fact that you're getting laid tonight.
Exactly.
That's kind of weird.
And then you have your first dance. She has her first dance with her dad, and then you have your first dance with your mom. And it's celebrating the fact that you're getting to, like, it's supposed to be the merging of the families, but it's not like that anymore. Like, it is so different. That cracks me up.
Yeah.
But,
why do we have all these Bob Seymours behind the scene?
There's like 4 different angles of Bob right now. Like, guys, you have no idea how happy I am to see this much Bob in my life. We had 6 people at our wedding ceremony.
Nice.
And honestly,
you only need one. You only need a witness.
You need a witness, and you need the minister, if you want to call
person to marry you.
Yeah, so that's 2, and then usually like a bridesmaid or a groomsman are just like there for family, and like they're the witness, but like somebody always comes on the other side too. So that like usually, and I want to. If I get married again, I want a small wedding. I made the joke all the time how I wish I could have a surprise wedding. Like, the person knows me so well. I've never had a surprise birthday party until recently. I've had one surprise birthday party in my life that ever surprised me. All the rest I figured out. But imagine having a surprise wedding. And I mean that as in, like, the groom usually is not the one you want. But if you're going to spend the rest of your life with that person, they're going to know a lot about you. You plan a like barbecue dinner. All your friends are coming over. You have Bob Seymour show up. And the next thing you know, you're getting married in front of everybody. Like, that is like, that for me, that would be fun as hell. Stuart says they only had 2 witnesses needed 2 witnesses are needed in the UK. That's interesting. Weddings need a witness and a victim. You mean a reacher and a settler? Most states require 2 witnesses. He's 100% correct on that. Witnesses while motorboating, not advertised unless you are into that. That's true.
Is he done with motorcycles? Is he just into boats now? Is that what's going on?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he's into the boat. Like, he's into boating and stuff like that. Woodpile, motorboating, keg, photos, LOL. There you go. True. Jaybird. I love it. So today we have a fun guest coming on, don't we, buddy?
Yeah.
So we have CJ Grace. And she is actually, I'm going to read part of her website bio because it's very good. It's amazing to me. Visiting England in 2016, she spoke live on the BBC flagship radio shows The Woman's Hour with over 3.5 million listeners. She wrote a book to help women let go of toxic emotions such as blame, hatred, and revenge. She said the sweetest revenge is to get over the need for it. Rather than discussing couples therapy or divorce, Adulterer's Wife shows readers how to stop feeling like hell, how to decide if the marriage is worth saving, how to deal with other women, how to rescue a poor sex life with one husband or someone else, the importance of making informed choices such as knowing about finances. She'll be coming up very soon. So guys, do us a favor, stick around, go give us a like, comment, and a share. Let us know what you're wearing today, if it's red, green, or white. If you're not wearing any of those colors, guess what? Go away, because guess who's coming up next? Bob Seymour. That's right, red, green, or white. I gave it to you. Do you want to know how I came up with those colors?
Yeah, I do actually. I'm confused.
Literally right here. That's all I saw. Comment of the day goes to Brett. Gavin, the motorless boat cur.
I don't need a motor to get from point A to point B with my boats. I do it manually, like a man. Just row.
I'm switching topics. I think we've already lost Jessica Dugas.
Yeah.
Gavin.
Yeah.
I wish I had a comment, but you've thrown me with these motorboats today. Like, because I know you know what it is and you're having fun with everybody. Everybody is.
The funny is, I don't know if they know that I know what it is.
You opened your eyes so big, like, come on. Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
Brian Tracy must be hanging out with Elon Musk because he has a motorcycle that's also a motorboat. That's phenomenal.
Wow.
Look at that. Motorboating can be done on a motorcycle. That's insane.
Like, for real.
That's some Optimus Prime shit right there.
Like, for real. Can you imagine that? Oh, did you see that, though? They have a flying car now in China.
Why?
The Jetsons. Have you never seen the Jetsons?
Yeah, I've seen the Jetsons, but like, how does it fly? Because that seems impractical.
Thank you.
Like, we already have flying cars. They're called planes.
No. This is meant to be like a personal, like, you could drive it and then you got to go somewhere. It doesn't go more than, I think it was like 200 miles. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, that's it. So that's not that far, but it is still a good distance. But you get like, I think they said it was 100 yards. I'd have to find the article. 100 yards, and then it takes off. Yeah. Okay? And you can actually, and you'll fly, and you just float, and blah, 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 blah. But it's meant to be for those people who, it's affordable flying car. And when they say affordable, I'm still going to guess like 100,000 because they didn't have a price tag in American dollars. So would you buy a flying car?
No, absolutely not.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That seems like a waste of energy. And also, I'm assuming it would be extremely, extremely loud.
Yeah.
I know they're not using magnetics to get it off the ground, which means they're using Air Force.
I don't remember, and I know they talked about something because it did use a.
I'm sure there's magnetics to keep it balanced.
No. It was like a magnet power electric thing, like so you can charge it electric, and then the electric worked with the magnets, and the magnets are what made it spin. So that way it kept going, kind of like they do with the super trains. Because that was their example. Does that make better sense?
Yes, it does.
So it was like stuff. So that's how they were putting this together, and it's the first. Yeah.
You know, that sounds obnoxious. In all honesty,
I actually agree 100%.
Well,
like
the whole reason why people like the thought of a flying car is appealing is because it helps reduce traffic. Because you have your one lane. And then you have multiple lanes going this way. So when you have a flying car, it's going above all that. But then you're going to have lanes that are going that way. A much simpler answer to that would be what Musk was doing, just tunnels under. It still creates the 3-dimensional rather than 2-dimensional traffic. But then you don't have to make a goddamn car fly. You just make a hole in the ground. We've been making holes in the ground since time.
They're getting approvals to be able to do speed tunnels around the U.S. Cleveland's actually looking at being one of the hubs. Cleveland to Chicago in 30 minutes. Cleveland to New York in 45 minutes. Pittsburgh, awesome. Pittsburgh, I believe they said was 12 minutes. Yeah. Same thing with Columbus, Indianapolis, same type of thing. Maybe a little more, but like, could you imagine, like, hey, you want to go on a date? Yeah. Okay. I'll pick you up at the tunnel. Let's meet there. And we'll go to dinner in New York. Like,
Yeah.
That I like.
You know
that.
how those got started, right? How Elon went about how Elon went about getting like the permission to just build tunnels under the city.
Yeah,
Yeah, he just built a pit.
He did.
That's it. He's like, yeah, I just asked if I can make a pit. Nobody cares. Nobody questions a pit. So I just made a pit, and then I made it deeper, and then I had a tunnel.
Elon Musk he's so fun and so crazy at the same time, but he's a genius. Like, he figures things out that are just incredible and wants to change. He really does want to help the world, you know?
Yeah. I was just thinking something interesting though the other day. I was listening to a podcast. And this guy was talking about how weird it is that CEOs are now like celebrities. Have you noticed that in the past 5-10 years, CEOs became celebrities? Like like 10 years ago, if you asked somebody what they thought about the CEO of Target, nobody gave a shit. But now we know their names, we know their lives, who they're married to, the names of their children. Like, it's not just like some person that you would see and awkwardly smile at the Christmas party anymore. They're like, they have fans.
Yeah, 100. Now, do you know what's funny? You know who has fans? Bob Seymour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Bob Seymour?
I am.
Me too.
In all honesty, yes, I am a fan of Bob Seymour.
Should we bring him into the cafe?
I'd like to.
You got it, buddy.
Hey, good
Good
morning.
morning.
What's going
Hi,
on
Bob.
with the iPad?
I had to kick the iPad out. I got really lousy watch, so I'm on my phone.
Gotcha.
Aw. Well, we're glad you're here, Bob. So tell everybody, where are you?
I'm in Belfouche, South Dakota still with my friend Jay.
Belfouche.
Yeah.
I have
BEL.
never heard of this.
It's north of Spearfish, just inside the state, just maybe about 15 minutes from the Wyoming border in the northwest.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Really?
Desert.
Wait, it's a desert?
Well, yeah, this is like I'm in the desert, but if you go about 15 miles south of here, you're in the Black Hills. It's hotter than hell. But yeah, it's beautiful out here, man.
I mean, it sounds relaxing. You got a little audience of crickets over there.
I know. We do a moment of silence, like, and let Bob just have the mic. Everybody would have like Zen tranquility, like right away, like whoa. So Bob, you were telling us a fun story backstage this morning about your trip down riding your bike recently, and you having to you and your buddy were going on a trip, and then all of a sudden your bike, you needed to go stop somewhere, and you were talking about gas and all that.
Yeah, we were trying to get this fence together around here, but it gets so hot, so we quit about 10 o'clock. And Jay asked if I wanted to go for a ride because when I look to my left out here, there's nothing but horizon and just like brown, whatever. And I asked him, what the hell's out that way? And he said, not much, man. But I was interested. He said, let's go for a ride. So we'll go have a drink. So we rode about 75 miles to a little town called Buffalo. I think there's like maybe, I don't know, half a dozen or a dozen buildings and one bar. So we went up there and had a drink and turned around and came back. And I thought enough gas to get back. I did, actually. But when we were coming back, Jay decided he was going to take me on a tour of his old stomping grounds. And about a mile after we took the detour, my fuel light came on. And I nothing I could do but just keep going. So, but we did manage to get to a gas station. I had to do the whole rock back and forth to get the gas sloshing around in there to stay in the fuel line, but yeah, we made it all right. It wasn't no big.
Have you ever just straight up run out of gas before?
Not on Bullwinkle. I did on my old Panhead a number of times. I ran out of gas with that damn thing more times than I could count, man.
What?
Yeah.
Gas gauge on the Panhead.
I was gonna say what broke because something's not right. Like, how do you run out of gas on a motorcycle? Is the first thought that goes through my head. Like anybody can run out of gas if with a car and all that, but you like have a motorcycle. You can make it a lot further. I would think I'd be even better on a motorcycle of making sure I didn't run out of gas. That's just me thinking that.
Well, my bike, I average about 40 miles to a gallon, and I only have a 5-gallon tank, so I'm only going 200 miles.
Yeah.
So, and gas stations out here can be 70, 80 miles apart. In fact, there's one place, I think it's 190 miles between gas stations. So you got to keep your eyes.
Brandon and I, we almost ran out of gas at one point on the way home. We got back. We were coming back, and we had probably 60 miles left, I think, in our tank. How much is that? How much is that tank hold? How many miles to the gallon?
That it gets 35 to 37 on the highway, depending on because we got 37 in parts of Colorado. And then it when we were going up the hills, it was like 16. I'm like, oh wow, we really went through that. But it was it gets about, let's just say 30 miles per gallon. Okay. Yeah. And then it does a 14.5-gallon tank.
Yeah. And we got to the point where it was like, we were in the single digits for how many miles we had left. And he was kind of half asleep. And in my mind, I was just thinking, oh shit. Don't say anything because then he'll panic.
Look, panicking is the right word because I don't want to run out of gas somewhere where I don't know anything or anyone. And it's not that I would be like, I'm screaming. I'd probably scream, but that'd just be in my head. And that's always there. But I don't like running out of, I like to plan ahead just enough that I can get to my next stop. So if shit hits the fan, I'm able to know I'm going to keep, Bob's giving me a look. Talk to me, Bob.
Well, out here, I like to keep my tank full too when I can. I can't always do that, but
true.
When you're going down the road out here with it could be 50, 20 miles between crossroads and stuff. If there's a wreck between where you are and there and they close the road down and you have to do a detour, it could be a 75 or 100 mile detour. So it's pretty scary. Colorado, when I'm in the mountains, I'll get 50 to 55 miles to a gallon, but up here, I drop down about 30, 35. And the stupid ass fuel. It's crazy.
Have you ever thought about taking a small 1 gallon tank of gas with you at all times?
Well, I can't really do that, and I didn't use that because all I had was bowling, but get a 2 or 3 can, keep it in my truck. I got a little extra with me, gas mileage towing the trailer, but still I get about 30, 35 miles. It ain't bad.
No, that's not bad, but still, like you said, all of a sudden you get a detour. Yeah. And it's a 70-mile detour. Gavin, I don't remember us having any detours on the way there or back. Do you remember anything that made us get off?
Supposedly we had one where there was an accident or traffic or something, and they sent us another route to try to save us time, and it didn't.
Wasn't that the Chicago?
Yeah.
And it was during the thunderstorm.
It's during the tornado, yeah.
Yeah, Gavin and I survived it.
It was a tornado.
I honestly, that was hilarious because you and I are both wow, it's really storming here. And we're going, and I remember that now. Good point. And it was detour ahead. You got to get off here. Next thing we know, we go an hour south to just literally turn and go back up a different way an hour north. It literally was a triangle we went.
Yeah.
And I remember we got on the phone with who? It was, I think it was Brett or Joe. And they were hey, are you guys okay? Where are you at? And we were we're just outside Chicago. They're a tornado touchdown in this one town. And we're we just passed that.
Yeah, we just drove right through it.
Yeah. You gotta experience a tornado when you're on a scooter, brother.
Thank you.
There was a couple guys, there was probably 3 bikers around us just before we got into it, and they all pulled off, thankfully. Like, it started to rain, and then it started to really rain, and we saw them all pull off the next exit.
Yeah. On a scooter at all. I was down in Oklahoma trying to outrun a storm, and I ran right into another one. I had to get a room, so I'm in this cheap ass hotel room, and I started hearing all these sirens, and they'd get loud and fade and get loud and fade, and I thought it was fire trucks or something. I got out the window, and everybody's in the parking lot facing the motel, and I'm like, what the hell is everybody looking at? I went out in my bare feet, and it sounded like a train out there, and this freaking tornado was like half a mile from the right behind. I mean, this thing was huge. Scared the hell out of me, man. I don't like that stuff at all.
Bob, you've been through a lot of things. You're a veteran. You ride across the country and ride through tornadoes like a badass. Like, give us what do you fear? What does Bob have in his heart that he's scared of? Just curious.
I don't have any fear of anything. I have something, I dread. The only thing I really dread is dying alone. That's I really don't want to do that,
Yeah.
But that's the thing I do. I don't fear anything. I could care less about. I ain't worried about dying. I just don't care.
Do you have a death buddy?
Do I have
like a death buddy, like somebody who's designated to be there with you when you die?
Oh hell no! I wouldn't do that to anybody.
I don't know. I got a friend who's so.
You don't want to die alone, but you're not going to do that to anybody. Do you realize where that balance is?
Absolutely, I do. I've been in this little spot now, like right after my wife died, man. I was dead. So low.
I have a vice and men buddy. His job, his task that he has accepted and been deemed with is, if I ever get to a point where I'm completely senile and I can't take care of myself anymore, then he is to take me to a body of water where I can watch the sunset one last time before he shoots me in the back of the head of mice and men style. So I don't want other people to have to take care of me. And I like, if I can't wipe my own ass and feed myself,
I don't want that either, man.
I'm already dead at that point. It's like, come on.
Right. I don't
send me on my way. Like,
long, you get so damn lonely out here. You want companionship, but at the same time, I want to be alone. It's a crazy place to be, but I think about a relationship every once in a while, and then I go, you know what? I really don't like the idea of having to say, hey, baby, you might go for a ride for a couple months. I'll be back.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying the freedom that I have.
Do you think that that's a nature versus nurture thing? The natural reason or the natural craving of human intimacy and attention as a species versus the nurture of traumatic things happening in your life where you want to just be alone and maybe don't want to get so attached to another person, have somebody get so attached to you because you know that one day they won't be there or you won't be there anymore?
It's both of that. I mean, when after my wife first died, I was like, ain't no way in hell I'm ever going to get in another relationship because I don't want to go through this shit again.
Yeah.
Then about a year later, you lonely and you start missing the companionship, and then you're like, God, I wish I could share my life with, but really I just want to be alone. It's a complex place to be. It's taken me like 5 years to really I don't think I'll ever get over it, but I've learned to cope with the situation, learn to be content where I'm at. It's a growing process, man.
All right, what about getting a pet, like a sidecar and like a dog or something like that?
Brother, I can't even hardly afford to feed myself. I couldn't take care of a dog, man. Right now, I got about $20 in the bank. I couldn't get to a dog. I love dogs, and I've got so many dog friends you can't imagine. I enjoy all of my friends' critters, but I wouldn't do that to a dog, man. I love dogs too much.
That's fair.
Bob, tell everybody a little bit about what you're doing and like how you believe in your faith and why you're able to go out there and spread the positivity you do, because I'm going to show everybody your Patreon. Guys, don't forget, go to Bob's Patreon. It's I'll put the link in the description here for everybody as well. But Bob's out there doing good things because he knows this is what is of him. This is what he knows he's supposed to be doing with his life, and he's supposed to be out there bringing up everybody and spreading positive vibes and energy and being the example he wants to be. And Bob is out there doing Bob's, like, spreading delight and positivity and good energy to everybody. And we created a Patreon and we get no part of it. It all goes to him. So if you guys could go subscribe and put money into his Patreon, it helps Bob be able to keep moving and spreading the good things that he's doing. Because Bob really does. Bob would give the shirt off his back to somebody even with no money in his bank and hungry, because he believes that's what we.
I've done that.
Yeah.
He has done that.
I know. Bob's Bikers. Oh my gosh, I love that. Like Bob's Patreon is one thing, but like the supporters of it, like that spreads positivity. And honestly, we have it called Bob's Delight because babes for Bob. Oh my God, we got the name. All right, are you one of Bob's babes? Like, come on, guys.
There we go. Like, he's gonna be the Harley Davidson Hugh Hefner.
I love that. Like, yep. Do it, Bob. And guys, this is what we're all about here. Bob comes in and he brings this amazing energy. So, like, Bob's out there helping a friend, putting up a fence, sweating his ass off, and then he still joins us on Fridays to make sure that he's able to bring a good story, like bring a smile.
I almost screwed up. I went to a meeting at American Legion with Jay the other night, and they really need a lot of help getting Sturgis is coming up, and they do a breakfast for the bikers and all that stuff. And I told them, hell, I'll help you. What time? When? And they said Friday morning at 10. And I said, yeah, all right, I'll be there. And then I went, oh shit, no, I won't, man. But yeah, no, what you said earlier, ask why and whatnot. Doing what I do. I used to write a blog. I had about 1,000 people following it, and this was quite a while ago. And one time I wrote this blog about making a difference. It was one of the lines that I had was, somebody's got to do something. And when I wrote that line, somebody's got to do something, it hit me right between the eyes that, hey, you are somebody. You go make the difference. If you want to see the world change, start right with changing your world. And that was probably 20 some years ago, and that's pretty much what I've been doing ever since, just trying to make a difference. If I want to see something done, leadership is leading by example. So I go out there and I just try to love people, do what I can do where I'm at with what I have, and try to help others and try to inspire other people to do the same thing, man. I do it from a Christian's perspective without shoving Christianity down anybody's throat, because I don't think that's my job. My job is just to go out there and live the gospel. And if somebody wants to talk about it, I'll do it. I only use words when words are necessary. People don't give a damn think or what they want to see what you do and see that you care. If you got that going for you, you're going to have no problem.
Nice.
Honestly, Bob, you are boom. Hey, Bob, you got another one, buddy. I'm looking forward to going and looking at what the Patreon has today and all that, and see what we get going for you, man. Thank you, Stuart. Absolutely amazing. Bob, when you go out, you're usually, you don't call it preach. I'm sorry, Gavin. Did I interrupt you?
No. I was throwing love in the air.
Okay, didn't catch it. But Bob, you don't preach towards people. You actually just talk to people.
Right.
Why is your style so different and people to gravitate towards you think?
Because I'm not pushy about it. I just I believe in my heart of hearts that if a person is seeking the truth, they're going to find it. And my job is not to go out there. Like, I get a lot of religious people to get pissed at me because I don't go out there and shove stuff down people's throat. I I don't believe that. There's a verse of scripture. I wrote something the other day. This guy named Barnabas. There were a whole when in the beginning of the church, it was all Jews. Christianity is not a religion; it's a worldview. The roots of Christianity is Judaism. So when Gentiles, non-Jewish people, started getting born again, started accepting Jesus as Messiah, the Jews in Jerusalem were like, "What?" So they send this guy Barnabas, and his name means the son of encouragement. They sent him up to Antioch to see if it was really true. And it turned out that it was. So he comes back and tells the apostles, yeah, these guys are really getting saved up there. So the apostles are like, what the hell are we going to do with these guys? They're not Jewish. So they sat down, they prayed, they asked God, and God told them, look, here's all I want from you guys. You're not Jews, so I can't put you under Jewish law. So for Gentiles, as long as you don't drink blood and eat animals that were offered to a idol, and you don't eat animals that have been strangled, and you stay sexually pure, that's all I require of you. So, I mean, why would anybody want to go out there and do anything else? He obviously left the depth of relationship between individuals to the individual of God. But when you get into these denominational stuff and they start getting the laws and the bylaws, that drives people away, man. It's just kosher. I don't want anybody to meet Jesus because they're afraid of going to hell. That's just not it. Romans 2:4 or 4:2 says it's the goodness of God that leads to repentance. And the good news is that there's a God, he loves you, and he just wants a relationship with you. And that's all I'm trying to do is go out there and live my faith. And if people want to hear about it, I'll tell them. But if not, I'm just going to go out there and be me and love people and hope I influence somebody to do the same.
Amen. Amen. Bob, it is always fun to have you on. We never know what's going to come about. So I was having fun. You were sitting outside and those crickets, I wanted him to stay out there just so I could keep him talking the whole time. It was so serene. I loved it. I was like, he's getting up. No, go sit back down. Go. So
it's
Bob,
hot.
It is hot out there. What is your temperature right now out there?
Oh, it's pushing 85.
Ooh. That's a dry heat too, right?
Yeah, and it's a dry heat, but it's still hot, man. The sun.
No, I love it. I love it so much. I miss the desert. Like when I was out there in Vegas, I had, you can ask Brandon and Joe, I had pants on the whole time. We'd step outside and it was an oven and I was just soaking it all in. I felt so nice and warm and cozy, and
I had my long johns on 2 days ago, man. It never got above 70 here. It'd be 104 yesterday, 68. You know, I mean, it's crazy, but
Gavin, I had to ask him, like, why are you wearing pants in the desert? I'm sweating in the hotel room, and we go outside. I'm like an instant water bucket, and he is walking around. Brett and him, they both have like pants on. Brett's got a t-shirt on. Gavin has like 3 shirts on because he's layered, and he's like, da, 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 da. Yep. I go outside, and it's just like sweat. How could you be wearing long johns? How could you be wearing long sleeves? I would be dying.
It's because I'm a Capricorn. I
don't know. Well played. Well played. Oh, that's.
Hey, Gavin.
What's that?
When's your birthday?
It's January 8th, 2000.
Mine's the 10th.
Hey, look at that, my man.
Really? That's kind of cool. You guys are that close. Guys, don't forget the Breakthrough Show. Today, Michelle Romas talks about the difference between nice and kind. Anyone can be nice. Kindness is a character trait. Bob is kind.
Yeah. You know, I started to say that this guy Barnabas, man, what the word says about him after he gets that report, it says that Barnabas was a kind man who was bold or full of the Holy Spirit and bold in his faith. And as a result, many were added to the kingdom. That's the key to it all, being kind, knowing your God, following the Spirit, leading of the Spirit, and to be bold enough to believe. This is where I come from. I'm bold enough to believe that if I act on what I think he's telling me to do, he's going to use me. And
Yeah.
that's just that simple. Be kind and love people, man. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, Bob, are you going to be hiding out backstage with us while we interview our next guest?
I will. I'll hang right here, brother.
Brother, I'm glad you're here. Guys, don't go anywhere. We have CJ Grace coming up. She is the author of harmonious self-help books, Adulterer's Wife, How to Survive Whether You Stay or Not. This book, she's been heard on the BBC, the BBC flagship radio Women's Hour with over 3.5 million listeners. Wow. She wrote the book to help women let toxic emotions such as blame, hatred, and revenge. She's the sweetest. She said the sweetest revenge is to get over the need for it, rather than discussing. Oh, go ahead, Bob. What'd you say?
Well, I agree with what she just wrote there. 100,000%, man.
100,000. Rather than discussing couples therapy or divorce, The Adulterer's Wife shows readers how to stop feeling like hell, how to decide if a marriage is worth saving, how to deal with the other woman, and how to rescue a poor sex life with one's husband or someone else, and the importance of making informed choices such as knowing about finances. So, guys, stick around. CJ will be on in the next few minutes. Bob, where are you headed next, my friend? Or are you staying out in South Dakota?
I'm going to be staying out here. Like I said, I can't afford to go anywhere, but I got a lot going on. I've got all these friends from all over the world, really. I've got people in over 50 countries following me, and we're starting, Sturgis is starting up here in about 2 weeks. This is like, I come up here every year because I've got so many people that are always wanting to meet, and this is some place where we can all go. So I usually head into Sturgis about sometime around 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'll either go to One-Eye Jack's Saloon or the Knucklehead Saloon, and that's where I wait and meet people. So I'm going to be here for another 3 or 4 weeks, man. I may take some side road trip over into Montana or in Wyoming and whatnot, but basically I'm going to be right here in the Black Hills. I got a lot.
Are you wearing a long sleeve shirt now?
I am. I'm an old skinny guy, and we get cold. Yeah. There's air conditioning in this camper.
Brett Gordon's going up that way too. I believe you two are going to try to sync up, correct?
Right. He's supposed to be here Tuesday, so I'm gonna save what gas I got. I can get over to Rapid City. He's going to be in Rapid City. That's 40, 50 miles from here. But I told him to message me on his way through. If he comes in on 90, he'll have to come through Spearfish, and I'm only about 50 miles from Spearfish. I'll run down there and catch up with him. And when he's done with the conference he's doing, maybe him and I'll jump in his pickup truck, go down and see Rushmore and Hill City and cheap, Crazy Horse Monument. I mean, there's a lot to do and see.
Well, so just so everybody knows, with Brett meeting Bob up there, he's buying everybody a tank of gas that can find the gas station they're at. So if you find them, you get a tank of gas. Like Gavin and I are already I did a friend request to Brett, and I'm tracking his phone now through a separate app just to see what happens, so that way we can get there. You know,
if you use Snapchat, you can track people with that. Yeah.
We're going to get him, buddy. We're going to get our free tank of gas all the way in South Dakota. Actually, I do have a question.
So worth it living in Ohio. Drive all the way there.
The 3 tanks of gas to get there and back, you know? So what are your gas prices right now? Because last night I filled up in the morning, and I got it for $2.89.
Oh,
and then... Yeah. Oh, God. Bob, before I got home, every gas station was $3.09 or above.
Yeah. I was paying $4.19, $4.20. Around here, it's about $3, because I have to burn high test. So it's about average about $3.60, $3.70. But there are places close to the interstate where you're going to pay $4.25, $4.20. Yeah. Most I ever put in Bullwinkle before was about $12. But the other day I put $18.90. About, are you kidding me? Yeah,
Like for real, $18 and a small tank like that. You said 4 gallons?
5 gallon tank. Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah.
That is one thing I really miss about having a motorcycle, though, is filling up the tank for under $20. That was always awesome.
Yeah, I used to like to do it under 10, man, but those days. It's funny. 6 months ago, I was like $8, and I had damn near a full tank on $8, and now, jeez, what the hell?
Yeah,
it is what
We're
it is.
living. We're having fun times right now. So, Bob, thank you for being here.
Hey, bless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Bob. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, you're good, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, please stick around. We have CJ Grace coming up in 1 minute.
Hello.
Okay,
How you
less
doing,
than a minute.
CJ? I was gonna say it's the fastest minute ever, you liar.
I watched your face when I said that. Like I hit the button and I looked at Gavin in the background and he's like, that's not going to be a minute long. Miss CJ Grace, it is a pleasure to have you on here this morning. Thank you for coming to the Delight Cafe with us. How are you doing?
Thank you, Gavin and Brandon. I've got 2 guys to myself now. Great.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Yes.
Play the cards right.
So now I am intrigued. We read your bio, and you have more than that. You've dealt with chemo and you had a rough story. Can you tell us about you and who you've developed? Because you have this great empowerment story, and you're helping people with a very hard part of your life you dealt with. So I want to let you take the floor and tell us.
Well, in a way, I was living a charmed life. First of all, I had this wonderful job with the BBC. I was interviewing celebrities and politicians and feeling like I had my finger on the pulse of world events. And then I went to China Radio International and worked as a journalist advisor for them. And I was in Beijing, China, and there I met this American guy. And we had a fairy tale falling in love. And fast forward 25 years, best wedding anniversary ever. We were living we had a second home in Hawaii, and it was just great. I felt like I was living in the land of the gods. But little did I know that just 2 years later, both my marriage and my health would be in tatters, because I found out that my husband was carrying on an affair with a woman that was half his age, and that I was, shortly after that time, then diagnosed with breast cancer for the second time. And I had one of those BRCA genes, just like Angelina Jolie had, a similar one to hers, that she was seeing as a death sentence. So it was a pretty brave and terrifying new world that I had just suddenly entered. And it was a pretty devastating time, but it was also a catalyst for me to really change my life completely, to become a published author, and to get through it, to work out a way to get through it. And that's what I ended up writing about. And one of the key things was to retain a sense of humor. That was so important, because my view is if you don't laugh, you cry. And who wants to cry,
So what was the time span between finding out both of those life-changing things, and then what was your initial reaction to that first and then second punch?
Well, it was about 18, maybe less than 18 months from finding out about the infidelity. I got diagnosed with breast cancer for the second time. And obviously I was devastated. Both times it was a real punch in the gut. After the first thing happened, after the infidelity, I was working out how to deal with it. And I came up with this sort of 6-part plan, which I can go into detail if you're interested later on.
Please,
But so, you know, I had a whole load of things I did. I needed to find confidants and mentors that I could trust, that I could vent my deepest, darkest thoughts to, and who would provide me with good advice. And that was very important. Not the same thing as friends, because friends aren't necessarily the same as confidants. But it was also really important for me to rebuild my friend circle, because I realized that almost everybody I knew was connected with my husband or the business that we shared together. And if you're having marital difficulties, the last thing you really want to do is to air your dirty laundry in public and start venting off to people who you are working with. That's not very professional. So I really had to find my friend circle again. And I had let go of so many of my friends over the course of this long-term marriage, because it was like a 30+ year marriage that I had. And, you know, you get so mired in looking after a joint business, looking after the kids, looking after the house, all that kind of stuff. And I had let all my friends go. You've got to have a community that you can enjoy. And so that was a key thing. The third thing that I mentioned a little bit earlier was the importance of laughter, finding things to make me laugh. I even gave up watching the news, and that was a big deal because I was a BBC journalist. I always follow the news, but the news is always bad news, you know, and so that wasn't going to make me feel any better. So I watched comedies, and, you know, I rediscovered Dilbert, which I love, you know, and stuff like that. And that was very, very, very important to raise my mood. And then the next thing I did was, you can call it loving your body, you know, and I made sure I got enough sleep, because that's really key. I made sure I was eating well. I made sure that I was exercising, and outdoor exercise was such a huge impact. I mean, if you feel like shit and you're just lying around watching television, spooning ice cream out of the tub or whatever, that's not really going to make you feel any better. I found that it was so important, however crappy I felt, to just drag myself outdoors in nature and just walk, move my body. It was fantastic for improving my mood. And then the other thing that was really important was to try to find my passion and become more of a hedonist, because so many women get caught in this, I don't know, we call it in Britain the Protestant ethic of just nose to the grindstone and doing your work and not focusing on anything else, and you're not very important, and everything else that you need to deal with, that's important. Don't you know, just get on with the program. You know, that's not good. You have to find things you enjoy, and you have to find your passion. It doesn't mean that you give up your day job and try to make a living as a banjo player or whatever it is, or, you know, although, you know, maybe some really talented banjo players could make a good living that way.
I was going to say, I'm not really sure what the supply and demand for banjo players is,
you know,
I'd imagine if you're really good, it's a scarce market.
Well, you know, I mean, even things like a ukulele you can make into a master instrument. I have to say, one of the best concerts I've ever been to was a ukulele concert. Could you imagine that? It was Jake Shimabukuro, who I think is the Eric Clapton of the ukulele. So if you ever get a chance to listen to him playing Fragile, he is outstanding. And so, I mean, yeah, whatever instrument you love, just play it. What if you have a cause that you really believe in, volunteer for that. Because if you're volunteering for a cause, it stops you churning and thinking about all the awful things that have happened and how your ex has treated you and how betrayed you feel. And because that doesn't really help you going like that. It's really not good. So yeah, finding your passion, finding something you enjoy is really important. And it is also a way of building community, because by doing that, you are meeting like-minded people and making new friends. And I found that it was so much easier to make friends when I was single and separated than when I was married, because my focus was on building community and making my life more happy and enjoyable rather than ministering to others. So that's a key thing. And the final thing I did, which is probably the most difficult, was to try to make sure I was focusing on living in the present, trying to live more in the present, not thinking about the past, because it's so easy to just churn and churn. And if only I had done this, and if only I'd done that, and maybe if I had done that, then this wouldn't have happened. And then you start worrying about the future. Well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to live? What about our finances if we're splitting up? And the past is gone. The future doesn't exist, and all you have is now. So if you can focus on trying to live in the now, you're going to be a lot happier. And even though that's not so easy to do, you can actually work at it. Whatever activity you're doing, even if you're cleaning your teeth, you can focus on being in the now when you're doing that. And it's a good training practice for learning how to be more present in the rest of your life. And that is good advice for anybody, whether you've been dealing with infidelity or cancer or anything like that. Living in the present is always going to make your life happier.
So
No, you're
Sorry.
good, buddy. I was just going to compliment her because that was actually going to be my question, was how do you catch yourself when you're not living in the present? And she answered that already. So that was going to be mine. So that's why I stopped myself. So go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
You're good. One of the things that you mentioned was that you had to refine your friend circle. And I think this is something that commonly happens when people get into a relationship. They start to break away from certain friends and family as they begin to find common ground with their significant other with when it comes to friends and family. How many of those people that you had to reconnect with did you find were sort of patiently waiting for you? And how many did you find just had completely moved on with their lives?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of them, it was almost as if I'd never left. Yeah. It was as if we were carrying on the same conversations. And what was really interesting was that they were saying to me, wow, it's like we've got the old CJ back, because I was back to being funny and interested and talking about things going on with me rather than being totally focused on marriage and dealing with my husband's affairs and all of that kind of stuff. So they actually preferred me the way that I was once I had left him. And so that was interesting. There were a few people I had to let go because some of them, I have a section in a second book I'm writing, which is called Hotel Chemo, My Wild Ride Through Breast Cancer and Infidelity. That one's almost complete. But I have a section in there called Drop 'em. And that's about various people that I just had to drop because they were not serving me. Some people really seemed to love focusing on being depressed and down. Yeah. And there was one particular relative who I got on with much better when I was miserable than when I was actually happy. I mean, but that was just because she was miserable. She preferred me when I was miserable. Misery loves company. But, and then a few other people that were just bringing me down, or people who would always be asking you for favors for things that you should be doing for them rather than anything else. And everyone has those kinds of friends, and you decide which ones you want to spend time with and which ones you don't. And I had to really be careful that I was meeting up with people that were serving me, that were making me feel better rather than making me feel worse. Particularly when you're going through breast cancer, you really need that, because the last thing you want is somebody who's going to be helping you go back into a downward spiral. So that was really important. But most of my older friends, they were very loyal. They were very happy to reconnect. In fact, there was one very dear friend of mine who was convinced that she had done something to offend me, because when I was married, she'd sent me emails that I was so busy I hadn't bothered to respond to them. So she thought that she'd done something that had pissed me off. That wasn't true. Oh. It was just that I hadn't focused on my friends during the marriage. It was a mistake. I should have not done that. But the fact is, now I have rebuilt those friendships back up, which is great.
That's wonderful to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, what is your favorite island in Hawaii?
Maui.
Oh, I love Maui's mine too. Mine too. I had to ask. Oh.
I will
Although
be right back.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been to all of them, but the Big Island, I'm not really into volcano smoke and fog, although they have some wonderful scenery. Kauai, I remember having some issues when I was swimming in Hawaii from riptide, in Kauai from riptides, which was not very pleasant, which sort of put me off. But it's a beautiful place as well. And Oahu is way too busy, because that's the main island with Honolulu and all, and it's more polluted. The ocean there is I found more polluted and less sea life than definitely than on Maui. But they're all gorgeous, and it's wonderful to be, because I'm in Hawaii right now, and it's wonderful to be there. Yes, the downside of being in Hawaii though is that it's earlier than everywhere else. So I had to get up very early to talk to you today.
You are a trooper. What time is it in Hawaii right now?
It is.
You look so pretty too. You are so dressed nice. I am so grateful you're here. You got all ready for this. Thank you so much. All right, what time is it?
It's a 5:18 or 5:16, 5:15. Yeah, fine. It's over there. It's what, 11 or something? Is it
11:15 right now? Yes.
Yes, we are 6 hours behind Eastern time at the moment.
You are amazing. Thank you for coming on and doing this with us that early in the morning. So I have to ask, did you do all of COVID in Hawaii?
No, I did most of COVID in California, and it was my sons are over in California, and I spent most of 2020 in California, and I've spent all of 2021 here in Hawaii, and so I've sort of had a dual COVID experience, I have to say, in both of the states.
And which one do you feel handled it better in your eyes, like with everything going on? Because you got to experience two very different states on how they're handling things too. So I'm just curious. You don't have to answer that.
To be honest, aside from the potential of supply shortages living on an island, which apparently was an issue in 2020, but they resolved it so that, toilet paper was rationed at Costco, and things like this. But apart from that, it's nicer to be here, because if there's a lockdown, they aren't going to lock down being able to go out and be in the ocean, walk by the beach, and the weather is going to be good enough to be outdoors. One of the biggest problems with lockdowns, particularly when they started opening up restaurants and allowing people to eat outdoors but not indoors, which they did in California for a period. Well, if it's really cold, that's not so pleasant. So, for example, in London, that wouldn't be so pleasant if it's freezing in the wintertime. So, and I used to go to Britain twice a year. Obviously, my wings were clipped from COVID, which was a shame. So we'll see how all that pans out.
So with that being said, I have to ask. I'm going to ask a question, Gavin, and then I want to know about the 6-part plan.
Yes.
So that way you know where we're headed. The book is. What is your favorite book you have read, and what are you reading right now?
Well, let me see. I have to say, I read a book by the Dilbert author, and why am I chemo braining it out of my head? What's the name of the How to Fail at Nearly Everything and Still Win Big by Scott Adams. It's a very interesting book, and it's funny. I find a lot of my books from yard sales. And I just see these, and wow, that looks interesting. I'll pick that up. And I was expecting it to just be a comic book, a book about humor and not much else. But he is very insightful in that book as to how to actually succeed. One thing that he talks about in terms of happiness, which I hadn't seen anywhere else, because Arianna Huffington in Thrive talks about how to be happy, and Rick Hansen in Hardwiring Happiness has a very good analyses of how to become happy. What Scott Adams said is key is having a flexible schedule. or if you're going to be American, a flexible schedule. And that is very interesting to think about, because if you are in control of your time somewhat, it gives you the flexibility to do things you enjoy, to be creative, and you aren't just constantly in somebody else's pay as a wage slave. And so that I found very, very interesting. And he also achieved a lot of success from affirmations. And I would never have thought that somebody like that would be using affirmations. He was very much using affirmations to become a successful comic writer. That was an affirmation of his. And he succeeded. And he seems to be, in many ways, an eternal optimist. He dealt with all kinds of very bizarre health problems that apparently had no cure, and he managed to find solutions for them. And he writes about that in that book. So it really is a great book to read, because it does have his signature humor in there as well. So I would say that is one of the best books that I've read recently. Scott Adams, How to Fail. I think it's called How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. You can probably find it online. Have I got his name right? I think it is Scott Adams is his name. But
I'm double checking, but you're good that way. I can, because I'm kind of curious. How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big by Scott Adams.
Yeah, and he is. I mean, he had a severe health problem that affected his hands, so that he couldn't draw properly. He managed to get over that. He had a severe problem that prevented him from being able to talk properly. And he was making his money from lecturing as well as doing, once he was well known. And I mean, and he got over that too. How the hell did he manage to do it? He was just, as I said, an eternal optimist, and very, very diligent at just, putting one foot in front of the other, and knowing in his head that somewhere he would find a cure, somewhere he would find a solution. And he just kept going until he did. So yeah, very, very admirable, I would say.
Very cool. All right. So what is this 6-step plan? I wrote it down and I'm ready.
Yeah, I went through it briefly. Number one, find confidants and mentors. And they could be people you pay to see, if you don't have somebody you can trust. I did make a mistake with one person, because I think they were more interested in just listening to the soap opera that was my life. And then they would tell all our mutual friends about it in emails. That wasn't really what I intended. So I sort of fired him as a confidant. He didn't really work. And it is better to have both men and women, because you do get a very different view from the opposite sex about things. Yeah. And then the second thing was cultivating community, making friends, finding a community of people that you feel comfortable with and that you can enjoy good times with. That's critical. And connections old and new. I really made a point of leaving no stone unturned and going back to seeing old friends, old boyfriends, all of that. And it was great. I really made wonderful connections again, and new ones too. The third thing was the laughter therapy. And I don't know if I mentioned, but I was brought up on a diet of Monty Python. I love Monty Python. And, my parents would let me stay up late to watch it, because it was on late at night when they first had it on the BBC. They even took me to see one show being recorded, which was just brilliant. So Monty Python is in my blood. I love that kind of absurd humor. And laughter therapy was so important for getting over both the infidelity and the breast cancer. And then the next thing that I mentioned was loving your body and becoming beautiful. And of course, I don't mean that I became a supermodel in 2 weeks. No, I don't think that was my role in life. But it's more about, looking after yourself. Loving yourself means sleeping enough, eating well, and going out and having exercising. And I mentioned earlier how important outdoor exercise is for banishing the blues. And then the next thing was to become a hedonist and find a passion, find something that you really enjoy that's important, because that becomes the reason why you get up in the morning. And the final thing was living in the present, because no past, no future, those don't exist. Only the now exists. And the whole point of this all was to learn how to become more complete, creative, and joyful with or without a partner. Because if you feel that you're only complete with somebody else, that you need a partner, you need a boyfriend, you need a husband, a wife, or whatever it is to feel complete, then it's a problem, because it's a hell of a burden on the other person. And it prevents you from finding the best kind of relationship, because you are so needy, and who's attracted to somebody who's needy, not somebody that may be the best person for you.
Right. And with that being said, I'm going to ask this as someone who I walked in on my wife having an affair. So the infidelity thing is like a big hit. With that, the neediness after that, you feel I felt I did something wrong. I wronged my wife, and that's why her and I had this situation we did. And I became needy towards others. And just in the last year and a half, 2 years, I really pushed myself towards being like, I don't want to date anybody. I don't want to do anything. You have to be alone. You have to be okay with who you are. And I think that you're hitting a lot of the areas I've been learning about myself, like the rebuilding of friends. That was hard. That was really hard, because like you don't expect to have to rebuild friends in your 30s and 40s and stuff. So it's just crazy to think like how many people go through this, and that you have to learn how to reset boundaries and learn who's actually there and who's not for each other.
So Brandon, did you walk into your wife having an affair?
I did.
Oh my God. I mean, that really, yeah. I mean, that's a tough one.
You want to hear a
No denying that one. No denying that one, huh?
But you want to know the funny thing? That wasn't
counter. It wasn't me. Someone laying in the sofa. It wasn't me.
I'm gonna but it was one of those things where I truly, at that moment, as much as that like broke me, like when yours happened, I'm sure it broke you. It was meant to make me find me and push me out into another way. And I was codependent. I was in need of somebody, and I didn't see it like that at that time. And her doing that showed me that my identity was, I like how right when I said that word, it popped up on the screen. Can identify with so much of what you expressed? Thank you, CK. My identity was wrapped up into what others thought of me through the church, through her, through our friends, and it wasn't me. And then the more I found me, the more I saw them fade away, and I built a new life. And I think that your story, like, because you have the extra whammy of the breast cancer, and you've had this great life. You were with the BBC. You have a house in Maui. Like, I would be jealous. Like, if you need a boyfriend, let me know, and I would be happy to come out to Maui. All right.
Oh, I can be a cougar.
How you doing? Gavin removes himself from the screen slowly.
Oh my God.
Piss off. I want to live in Maui.
Can you handle a 21-year-old and a 38-year-old?
Wow, that might be too much to handle. I don't know. I mean, maybe one in the backyard, one in the garage.
It's all right. We'll be gentle. Me by option. Him, he doesn't have a choice. He's just gentle now. He's older.
I can hang a hammock in the backyard and just sleep out there. It's Hawaii. If it rains, it rains. You know.
It's a lovely warm rain. Actually. Oh yes.
We'll get some tiki torches. I can cook. There we go.
Do you want to laugh? I literally just found tiki torches online that are solar paneled. So you literally put it down, and it's for real. So my dad got a new driveway, and he's talking about putting lights in, and he's all like, my dad's creativity is always like fixing things in the house, and I love him for it because he's crazy. But like, I want CJ caught that. I love it.
All the best people are crazy, you know. I mean,
we could go through history naming people, and everybody associated them as crazy, but they made the world a better place and changed things. he got this new
Some of them.
driveway put in.
Some of them.
Some of them are. Ooh.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Dad, why don't we put tiki torches? And he goes, I don't want to have to light those. And I'm like, no. And I pull up on Amazon. It's an LED, and then it looks like a flame is going. So I was like, we'll put them every other like spot down the driveway, and it will back as you go down the driveway. It looks like you're entering like a Hawaiian village almost, because it's all pitch black where he lives and all that. And he's like, I love that idea. He ended up ordering 30 of them like that. I'm like,
Holy
I know when I get.
How much are they?
Actually, it's if you buy them in bulk, you get a little bit better price because we were doing Alibaba. So I went on Alibaba to see if you could buy a bulk order. Oh, I love Alibaba.
I've seen those. They have those LED lights now that they look like a flame, and I would really like to start getting those and just in the house, just regularly. That'll be my natural light from now on.
I don't think it gives that much light. Just so you know.
Oh, I'm aware. That's fine.
Okay, got it. So CJ,
my whole house would just
it's
be a
mood
big
lighting. Mood lighting. There you go.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't get a candle. I love candles. I have 2 sitting right in front of me all the time. So CJ, with this, what made you write a book? Have you ever thought you were going to write a book before? Because I know you have 2 now. You're not an author until you can get anybody. What did my one teacher say? Anybody can get published once. It's when you write a second book and you get published, that's when you can call yourself an author. And I always thought that was like condescending, but you have 2 books out there.
Well, I have one that's been published and the other one is completed, but it hasn't been published yet. So the cancer book, Adulterer's Wife, How to Thrive Whether You Stay or Not, is published and available on Kindle, and it's available in print. But the second book has not yet been published, and that one is called Hotel Chemo, on my website adultererswife.com, which is what's being scrolled through right now. You can see the details on it, and I've got the table of contents and the introduction up, and they both have cartoons in them, which I like to.
Did you draw your cartoons?
I didn't draw them because they would be crap if I had. but the thing is that I knew exactly what I wanted, and I happened to find an amazing cartoonist, Aaron Austin, who it was almost like it was telepathic. He had an idea. I told him what I wanted, and he just did it, and beautifully. And some of them are a little raunchy in Adulterer's Wife. It's funny.
That's what my question was going to be. What do these cartoons entail?
It's funny because initially a friend of mine said, oh, you should put some cartoons in there to lighten it up. And so I thought, I don't know, I can't think of any cartoons. What cartoons? And then another friend of mine showed me this Playboy cartoon book. And I looked at it and I thought, I've got some ideas from that. So the first load of them were about sex. And the fact is, what is infidelity about if it's not about sex? Infidelity is generally because somebody is having sex with someone who's not their partner. That's what infidelity is. And so I covered sex. And only later on did I come across some ideas for ones that weren't about sex. So some of the cartoons in there are moderately X-rated, but people are fairly clothed in them, so no,
you did a very middle school sketch kind of pathway with this. You started off with penises and stuff like that, and then eventually you went on to drawing like actual shapes and objects and houses and whatnot.
There you go. I don't think there's a penis in there, as far as I can remember. I don't think you can. I mean, I refer to penises, maybe, or they are referred to in the cartoons, but there is not an actual picture. Or a cartoon of one. Sorry about that. If that makes it less attractive to you as a book,
I know.
So, what can I say? Now you won't buy it.
That was it for me.
Maybe I have to re-release it as a penis version with more pictures in there. I don't know. What do you think?
If you can make them in different themes as well, like maybe like dressed up with like a tie and stuff like that. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, just make little caricatures out of it.
I mean, I do have one cartoon in there about women's lib, where in fact instead of the woman wearing all this weird clothing, it's the man.
I like that.
Why not? Why shouldn't the man be wearing the suspenders and the stockings and the high heels and all of that?
I've worn all of that, and I have to say, when you get back
let,
into the
let
bedroom,
him be uncomfortable in all that garb,
Yeah,
Why should we always
I've
have
done that. I have the suspenders and the ties and the undergarments and everything else that goes on top. And even some of my outfits include fishnets, in all honesty. And you get into the bedroom, and it's only sexy for like a couple moments, and then you're just awkwardly ripping off tight clothing, but you're trying
yes,
to
because it's so
delicate.
uncomfortable. It's
yeah,
so
it really is.
And especially when it's hot, if you're in a fairly hot climate, why would you want to be wearing that kind of stuff? Not so nice.
No, you're sweaty before you're really trying to get sweaty. It's
yeah, fun. I mean, there's one cartoon though, in terms of cartoons and sex, there's one cartoon that I came up with, which I think shows the sort of weird attitudes that we do have about sex, and it's called In a Faraway Galaxy. And it shows all these aliens. It's an outdoor setting, and all these aliens are busy having sex with each other. And right in the middle are two aliens who are having a picnic, eating, like a chicken drumstick. And the other aliens are looking at these people absolutely aghast, absolutely obscene, aghast, shock, horror.
Yeah.
These people are eating in public, disturbing all of these people who are very nicely having sex together. So what that's showing is why is it that in our society it's really rude to be talking about sex, or to be having sex, or to be seen having sex, whereas it's fine to be eating in public? That's just custom.
Yeah.
And so that's what that cartoon is about. It's just to try and show that so much of what we do and so much of our belief system isn't absolute. It's just relative to our culture.
Interesting. Do you notice, being a world traveler like you've been, in different cultures, it really is held at different levels?
Well, certainly the attitudes towards infidelity are very different from one culture to another. And I read an awful lot of books as part of the research for Adulterer's Wife. And one of them's called Lust in Translation. What a great title, by, I think, Pamela Druckerman. And she looked at how infidelity is dealt with in different countries. And she came to the conclusion that the country that deals with it the worst is America, because it's devastating for everybody concerned when it's found out about. Whereas, for example, somewhere in South America where Druckerman was working, she was very surprised that these guys would constantly be hitting on her, married guys, and she didn't really understand why. And then another female colleague, same thing happened to her. And she talked to these guys, and they would be saying, well, I'm offering you pleasure. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, what about your wife? But this isn't about my wife. This is between you and me. It's like there's a total disconnect. There's a totally different attitude. You may not agree with that attitude, but it's a completely different attitude towards infidelity. And the women are more accepting of it, maybe because they have no choice. But, that is the situation.
Is it a two-way street then? Like, could I walk into a pub and a married woman would come up to me and say, hi, where are you staying tonight?
That's also interesting, because so much of it is patriarchal. And it's interesting because it's almost like the morality that used to only apply to women about, well, you need to be faithful, and if you're adulterous, you're going to get, whatever it is, stoned to death, or all these awful punishments that they had for women that were adulterous, whereas men could really get away with it with impunity usually. It's like those kinds of values are now applied to men as well as women in Western countries, whereas in the third world countries, it's more, well, men are allowed to do that, but women aren't. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's just the way that it is. And infidelity is such a complicated subject because there's no one size fits all answer. There's all, and I came across so much hypocrisy about the subject. So that people who had been unfaithful or had friends who were unfaithful would have all kinds of reasons why it was perfectly okay. And generally the wife or the husband that was the person that was cheated upon would be, she's a harpy, or you can understand why he's, she's unfaithful to him because, look, he's just such a horrible man, or whatever it is. Yeah. But then when it was you or your friend who was the cheated upon person, oh my God, that person's a demon. It's really, he's awful. I mean, how can you put up with him? And one thing that I say is, why is it that 1 minute this partner of yours is the love of your life and perfect, and the next minute he or she is a demon, the devil incarnate? Yes. Yeah. It's the same person, the same flawed human being that they were before and after you found out that they were unfaithful. And, they obviously had good points that drew you to them in the first place. And obviously they have bad points that may make you now want to leave. But I always felt that demonizing somebody for that reason was just not going to help. Playing the blame game and demonizing somebody. And sure, there are cases where people have been so badly treated by their partners that you do want to say, oh my God, how can you put up with that? But it's not a positive way to move forward. You have to really find a way of not going the blame revenge route and putting that energy instead on moving forward, on making your life better than it was before. That's really what you need to do. It's not necessarily easy, but it's the much better route forward. So
on your website, your blog is absolutely my favorite name of a blog yet, Jealous Bitch Blog. So everybody knows this is your reason you go to the adulterer's wife. Your first article that came up was posted just in May. The link between wearing bras and breast cancer.
Oh, yes.
Talk to me about that.
I'm so glad you want to talk about that, because it should not be a controversial subject, but it actually is. I did a lot of research about breast cancer, and I heard on a documentary this throwaway line: the link between wearing a bra and breast cancer is stronger than the link between smoking and lung cancer. And I thought, what? Really? That can't be true. And I read the book that it was based on, called Dressed to Kill. Brilliant title. And there's a study in there that shows this conclusively. And not just that study, but there have been studies done abroad. But the people that wrote that book thought that they would be welcomed with open arms by the cancer community in America, and they were not. And in fact, another study was commissioned in 2014, which was claimed to debunk the research in Dressed to Kill. And when you look at that 2014 study, it has no control group. So all it does is it tests women, it pits women who didn't get breast cancer who wear bras with women who did get breast cancer and wear bras, which is almost like checking to see how effective not smoking is for preventing lung cancer by having a study that has nobody in it who doesn't smoke. I mean, come on, how can that be a good study? And yet that's the study that everybody is pointing to that supposedly debunks this theory. And so when I read that, I knew already that wearing bras wasn't great. And so I wasn't wearing them very often. I'm not wearing one now either, so there.
That's on me either.
No bra. And I gave up. Yes, this is a bra interview. What can I say? It's a bra.
I literally had the same joke lined up. I was like going to wait and be like, oh yeah, I took mine off for the show too.
But I'm wearing a swimsuit top, so it is sort of holding me, and I'm not sort of I'm not letting it all hang out and hang loose here. But anyway, you can't see it because the pop screen from my microphone's hiding everything. Anyway, so there.
Oh, what a shame.
I'm going through your blog, and you have got a lot of cool things. A naked painted lady as a role model.
Oh,
and
she's amazing. Yes.
she was beautiful.
Junie Moon. Yes.
Yes, Junie Moon. And then I'm going back up because this was a great one to me too. Post-traumatic stress versus post-traumatic growth. Dive into that for a second for us, because your blog is amazing. I'm reading all the titles. You're teaching us things, and I think that the breast cancer thing should be researched more, because that's ridiculous. Because you come to America and you're showing, wait a minute, there's statistics that show this, and you're not balancing this in the right way, and you're putting out wrong information. And there's so many things happening in our world like this now. And I'm not going in one way or another. Yes.
That's another reason. I mean, to be quite honest, Brandon, I am the infidelity authority. I am the infidelity author. I am not necessarily positioning myself as, even though I've done a huge amount of research on breast cancer. I had to do it. I went through it twice. I don't have a great desire to be the authority on breast cancer because it is so controversial. I used both alternative and conventional therapy. I went through chemo and radiation. I also did a ton of alternative therapy, most of which my doctors probably would think were complete garbage. Were they garbage? Were they not? I'm still alive now. Is it because of the conventional therapy? Is it because of the alternative therapy? Or may I get struck down later? Who knows? And you also cannot really tell people what they should be doing. So that, for example, I was very much against having a mastectomy. I was advised to have a prophylactic double mastectomy, actually in between the first case of breast cancer and getting it for a second time. And a lot of people thought I was totally crazy to refuse getting a mastectomy, and that maybe I wouldn't have got breast cancer the second time had I done that. But I'm still happy that I did it. And yet, everybody is different. Everybody has to do what they feel comfortable with. And I would never want to be advising people what treatment to have or not to have. But for me, that was what worked. And as I said, people thought I was nuts to refuse it. But then, when I looked at it, I knew as many people who had died of cancer following mastectomies as had survived. I didn't see that the evidence was good enough to deal with that. And one of the biggest problems with mastectomies that they don't really make very clear to you when they talk to you about doing it in a doctor's office is how dangerous the reconstruction can be, because implant illness is huge. There is a website set up by Nicole Deruda on implant illness on Facebook that has, I think, to date, has 145,000 members of people on it. And one of the poster children of implant illness is Crystal Hefner, she's the widow of Hugh Hefner. And obviously she needed it for her career. And she got them removed because she was so sickened by these silicone implants. They can be incredibly, incredibly dangerous for your health. And even the others, saline, and then you can also do them from your own fat tissue. But, there are issues with all of those different kinds of surgeries. And so a lot of women who do have mastectomies now are actually choosing to remain flat afterwards, which may be a safer option. But in my case, I thought, I just got myself, I had a new relationship after I found out about my ex's, he was my husband at that time, but when I found out about his infidelity, sometime after, I did end up in a new relationship with a lovely man that I knew from my BBC journalism days. He was somebody I used to work with at BBC in London. And maybe thanks to him, I thought, the second time I had my breast cancer, they asked me yet again, you really should be having a double mastectomy. And I thought, no way in hell. I'm not going to give my boobs up. Sorry, I don't want to have fake boobs with no sensation in them and the risk of implant illness. Forget about it. I'll just take my chances, and maybe on my gravestone it'll say, here lies CJ because she wouldn't lop off her boobs. I don't know. Maybe that'll be but that's just the way I feel. And other people, and I'm certainly, other people may have completely different views, but that was mine.
Her cancer was as real as her breasts. There you go.
Yes, I'm glad I hung on to them. Yes.
That was a great one. It's funny you mentioned Crystal Hefner. She actually is a follower of our social media. She is
great. Good for her. I think she's terrific. Yes.
She is amazing. And she talks about mental health, which is a big thing with our network. We want to spread positivity. Everybody's invited to the Delight Cafe, and it's this digital cafe from around the world that anybody can come and spread positivity, love, and light, just like you're doing, CJ. No matter if you're the jealous bitch blog or not, like, you're allowed to be who you are.
Well, that's why I called it the jealous bitch blog, because one of the first things that got thrown at me was, well, oh, you're just a jealous bitch, because what do? You complain about the fact your husband's unfaithful, and you complain about the mistress, which isn't necessarily a great thing to continue to do, but at the beginning. And so when you're dealing with infidelity, you're actually either a jealous bitch or you are a pitiful doormat of a woman, and there doesn't seem to be anything in between. But there is. You can just be yourself, and you don't have to be a jealous bitch, and nor do you have to be a doormat. So that was the thing, and so because I've got the snarky British humor, I thought, well, I'm going to have to call it the jealous bitch blog. Why not? Yeah. That's what it is. It's just like, I've got another website too, which is called rentabrit.com. That's for my voiceover and potential podcast work. Rentabrit.com has the Grumpy Brit blog. So they're all kind of, a grumpy, sarcastic Brit. That's just me. What can I say?
How'd you go about confronting the other woman then?
Well, the thing is that I didn't want to get into the blame cycle with her. And there is a section in Adulterer's Wife about the mistress, and it's mistress, villain, or victim. And maybe she's neither, but there's this whole thing that if somebody has been unfaithful, particularly if you want to stay with your partner, then it's all the fault of the other person. They've just pulled away this hapless spouse completely against their volition. This evil harridan of a woman has pulled them away, and it's all her fault because she's a real cow. No, she's not. I mean, it takes two. It's the two of them together. Yeah. And at the very least, the other woman or the other man did not have the marriage vow with you. They have no real relationship. They have not signed a marriage contract. So in many ways, they are less culpable than your partner. Right. Because they aren't part of the relationship. And there are many cases where people have affairs, and the people that they have affairs with don't even know that they're married, or they're told some kind of cock and bull story as to why the guy is being unfaithful.
Oh,
that's very, very common.
Staying for the children, kind of thing.
Staying for the children, or I came across an amazing story actually that's going to be in my Hotel Chemo book. So this lady gets a call from a woman, this married woman, and she's called by this lady, and the lady says, "Oh, you're sounding awfully healthy." And so the wife says, "What?" And it so turns out that the husband had told this woman that his wife was dying of cancer, and she was an alcoholic and really difficult. And this poor man, he just needed sort of succor and help from this lady at work, because he was just so kind of him to put up with looking after this dying, nasty woman having cancer. And it was a complete fabrication.
What would help my wife's illness? If you went down on me, miss. Like, what?
But yet there are other cases where so many celibate marriages, that's really common, especially in long-term marriages, for all kinds of reasons. Sometimes it's medical, sometimes women go off sex after they have children, and often that's because of pelvic issues from childbirth that have not been resolved. That's very common, that create pain from intercourse and all this kind of thing. So for a very multitude of reasons, you can have celibate marriages. And in those cases, if somebody isn't getting fed at home, they're going to go out for a takeout. So that's another reason. So as I said, it's not black and white. You cannot necessarily always point the blame in one direction when infidelity goes on. Often it's a symptom as much as a cause, and so you have to really try to not be too judgmental and just see, well, how can I get out of this situation in a way that is good for me? One of the things that I had to do was, because it's so easy to act on your emotions, you're on this emotional roller coaster when you go through infidelity. It's horrible. It's you feel like shit. And one of the things I had to do was, whatever decisions I needed to make, whatever behavior I was exhibiting, whatever actions I wanted to do, I needed to try to tell myself to stop and think, is this serving my own long-term best interests? That's so important, because the worst way to make decisions is to have them based on a roller coaster of emotions. You are not going to make the best decisions there. So that was critical. And I would advise anybody going through it, whatever you're deciding to do, stop and think. Is this going to serve my own long-term best interests? Because so many of the revenge stories that you hear, and I've got quite a few really funny stories that I've heard about for revenge, they don't help you move on, and they don't help you get a better settlement with your husband or your wife or whatever.
Right. Being someone who is divorced and all that, I think you're phrasing this in such a great way, because you never know. I saw your blog, and it was one of the ones I was going to bring in, how the lawyers are sitting back there and they have money signs behind their head on your cartoon.
Oh, yes.
How like that's all they're doing. And for me, I felt like that with our lawyers, and there were so many other things. Like you want to talk about stories, I could tell you my divorce, and your mouth would hit the floor. I've told it to people, and they're like, "You need to write a book." And I'm
it's quite a story.
It's one of these where it's like it's life, and I had to say I gotta get over it, otherwise I'm just gonna stay angry at her. And I made some big changes, and I like you, CJ. You got to find the best in things, and I love how you're taking that. I shall remain. Brian, we're talking about the same thing, bud. So like, it's one of these things where I think you brought this in such a professional and fun way. This was a great conversation. CJ, we're coming up to the end of the hour. We have Bob in the background getting ready to come back in. See, I'm catching him off guard. I did that quickly. But at the end of every show, we give a positive affirmation of taking everybody from just a quick word to give inspiration and help them get through. I'll go first, then Gavin, then Bob, and then you. That way you see how it's done and you get a minute to see it. But I want to make sure I give you the thank you again for being on here and how amazing you are. And everybody go check out the Jealous Bitch blog. Go get on her website and get the Adulterer's Wife. Don't forget to pick up her book. So
yeah, and I also have a free PDF if anybody wants. You can find that from cjauthor.com. Gets you to the right place, cjauthor.com, because nobody can spell my website, adultererswife.com. So I've got an easier way to get to that page, and they misspell it, and there's a porn site spelled differently. Oh no, terrible name. But anyway, cjauthor.com. Get my free PDF. It's about how to get off the emotional roller coaster. So I hope that will benefit you guys.
I am so sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. It was just
I know, it's terrible.
I'm like typing in your website.
You either got to figure out how to get over being cheated on, or you're just going to go watch pornography.
There you go.
Which is one and the same sometimes, in all honesty. Like.
Well, it was in Brandon's case, wasn't it, really? I mean, since you walked in on it.
You and I, we'll talk for a minute after the show.
Afterwards. Yes, absolutely.
So, guys, for today's show, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. What a great episode. CJ was amazing, and she has a wonderful way of talking about a very difficult topic. Remember, guys, that her way of saying emotional roller coaster, sometimes it's best to be able to just stop, get off the roller coaster, and take a new step. Like, you don't need to keep flailing around. It's not helping you. And that could be from jumping into drugs to sex to porn. Apparently, you could just click the wrong button and all of a sudden you're on porn now. But getting out and finding that you. CJ had to get out and find the best CJ. Brandon had to go out and find the best him. The only way to change the world is by starting to look inside yourself first.
So the thing that I like to take away and give back to everybody in this episode is, depending on your personal belief, depending on your culture, depending on how you were brought up, cheating, infidelity can mean a lot of different things. For some people, it's emotional. For some people, it's physical. For some people, it's both. For some people, it's neither. And it is very important that early on in your relationship, you make that clear with your partner or the person who you wish to be your partner on what cheating to you is and what infidelity to you is. So you set these boundaries and expectations, and you understand where you're coming from with each other. If you personally don't mind having an open relationship, but your partner does, then maybe that isn't the relationship for you. If you think you can make it work, by all means, that's your choice to make. But to have that open, honest conversation in the beginning can really, really prevent a plethora of problems in the future.
Well said, buddy. Well said.
Well, hey, I just sitting here listening to all of this, and boy, the only thing that comes to my mind, man, is I see and hear things a lot, and I kind of sense in my spirit there's an awful lot of people watching today. You just need to just step back, take some time for yourself, man. Do an honest evaluation of where you're at, where you want to be, and then go for it, man. But take some time for yourself. I didn't realize how toasted I was getting. I needed a break, and I'm so glad I came to South Dakota, and it gave me time to just sit. The brother I'm staying with is allowing me all the liberty, freedom I need to be alone to do whatever. So, and it has helped me tremendously. So I want to encourage people, take some time for yourself, enjoy your day, and in the process, learn how to love yourself correctly and learn what love is. Love is not an emotion, man. Love is a commitment. So commit to yourself, man, and love yourself today, because if you don't love yourself, you can't love other people, right? So just take your time and love yourself and others today. That's all I got for you.
Love that. Thank you, buddy.
I want to know what love is. CJ, I want you to show me.
We'll talk, Brandon. I met Gavin.
Yeah, well, you've got to love yourself first. You know, if you really want to love properly, you have to love yourself first. And I would say that the best, I really want to emphasize my mantra, the best revenge is to get past the need for it. And I'm actually grateful to my ex and his mistress, because I'm so much happier now than I was before.
Yes.
And there is hope after infidelity, whether you stay with your partner, whether you go and live a life on your own, whether you live a life with a new person. There is hope, and it is a wake-up call, especially in my case, having both breast cancer and infidelity at the same time. It's a wake-up call that life is short. Make it count. If you don't do what you want now, if you don't do what fulfills you now, when the hell are you going to do it? Do it now. Now is the time to start living the life that you want.
Amen. 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 What a great way to end the episode today. Guys, thank you for stopping by the Delight Cafe, joining us on this digital platform to celebrate one another and everything. Go to my OnlyFans. It's Care Bear Brandon All Bear. Apparently, they started one for me. I appreciate it, guys. I look forward to seeing what videos you post of me in my Care Bear onesies. Guys, Jabba Delight officially needs a fire truck. It's in flames. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It was a wonderful episode. Bob, look forward to yours. CJ, thank you again. Everybody, go out, spread love, spread positivity, and have a great weekend. See you on Monday.
God bless.